Today, our innovation journey brings us to France, and my guest is Belen Moscoso Del Prado, Group Chief Digital and Innovation Officer at Sodexo. Hi, Belen.
Hello, Alberto. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Nice to see you. And again, Belen, today I would like to deep dive a bit more, as usual, what is the open innovation approach at Sodexo. But before entering into the main topic, I think might be useful for our audience to get an overview, a few words about Sodexo, what you guys are doing. Again, I know them, but probably might be good for the audience to get not just what you're doing today, but also a bit of your journey that brings us to become one of the multinational leading company in the service and catering industry.
Yes, thank you, Alberto. So I guess everybody knows well Sodexo, but I think it's worth reminding everybody that Sodexo started or was founded as a startup 56 years ago in Marseille by Pierre Belen, which is our founder, as a catering company. It's a company that has revenues of 17.4 billion with 412,000 employees, and we serve 100 million consumers a day. Sodexo was a company that started, as I said, as a catering company, but over the years has been developing strongly. First of all, to ensure or to broaden the scope that we started bringing, which was in the office space, and so to bring it to different environments such as schools, universities, in the energy and resources environment, sports and leisure, etc., but also grew in the services that we bring. So we equally diversified into facilities management and personal home services. Sodexo, it's a company that is, as you can imagine, because we were born as a startup, has a huge and very strong entrepreneurship DNA. So it's really a company that has been, it's a people company, but with values that are very strong around innovation. In the past years, the service industry has been changing quite a lot, and therefore Sodexo as well is going through a business transformation to embed more and more this innovation that our consumers, our clients want from the services that we bring to them.
I think that, again, looking at your industry, the first immediate question before entering the main topic of innovation, but again, is not totally unrelated, is how COVID has impacted a company like you that is serving meals, catering, not just that, servicing buildings. So how COVID has impacted, and question number two is how COVID in a certain way has, if COVID has boosted a bit your innovation journey.
Yes, so Alberto, this is a very pertinent question. I think our innovation journey was something that was already present, and we had been working very strongly before COVID. COVID hit, and what we were seeing before and what we were working before accelerated. We know that our services or the service that we bring need to fulfill the changing needs of consumer behaviors and needs. With COVID, this were accelerated, which was expected in certain way and which really helped our innovation journey. I have to say that the impact on our journey, the impact that we can see goes on two ways. The first one is our focus. Prior to COVID, we were maybe in a phase where we were opening up to innovation and trying to grasp the innovation, not only on our core business, but on other areas that were maybe a little bit longer from our core to create always better services. With COVID, we have refocused our efforts on our core business, and we're focusing on three things: our food transformation, our vital spaces offer for people at work, and the third one is on accelerating our data journey. The second impact that we see, and it's really, really there, is that prior to COVID, I can say that we were from the group level pushing this innovation to the field and to the business. And we had put all our efforts there. COVID hit, and we can see a very different environment. The business is pulling and calling us to help them to get that done very quickly on the field. These are really the two things that really impacted and that we can find as a learning. Now, what are we doing in terms of innovation today? So we are focusing our accelerator programs and more specifically on our vital spaces offer. And we have 3 programs running in the UK, in China, and in Brazil. Our partnership and Sodexo Ventures efforts, we're really focusing them on our food transformation. And this is something that was going on, but now we are really accelerating. And of course, leveraging all the levers that we have on our data acceleration roadmap, as this is something that we really want to accelerate. Many learnings, obviously, you can imagine.
No, just before getting to there, I was thinking what you just said that I think was relevant. I think is the change of approach from a certain way. You pushing now the business is pulling, is asking for solution, is asking for innovation. While a few years ago, you were more in a pushing mode. I remember that. And the question is this due just to the fact that COVID has, in a certain way, push everybody to change their habits, to change their way of doing, or also, and it is probably the way I see it, knowing you guys from inside since a few years, is mostly the fact that also the innovation journey that you guys started a few years ago is trying to bearing fruits. Again, at the beginning of your innovation journey, a typical large corporation is trying to convince the company that innovation is needed, and then that is the pushing mode. And but if you work properly and you are able to explain people, to evangelize people, to convince them that innovation is needed, at a certain point, you bear and you start harvesting the fruits of your work, and then the business owners are becoming more and more understanding and knowledgeable that they really need, that this innovation is not just something that someone is pushing, but it's something that is badly needed. So that is my question. Has it been just COVID, or has it been probably also the outcome of the work that you guys have been doing since the past few years?
I think it's a combination of both, Alberto. I think you're totally right. Sodexo started this journey 5 years ago. In a context of driving or bringing our open innovation ecosystem to a business transformation. That has always been the objective. And as you know, when you start, you need to learn. You need to bring the levers to ensure that you create that awareness and create that business connection to ensure that your open innovation journey starts taking place. And this is the first phase. I think that you're right. We created a certain number of levers that allowed us to bring this into the company today. And this is why I think it's a combination of both. We have our consumers, and COVID has really accelerated that feeling of consumers. Having a certain number of needs and behaviors that we need to take into account much more. And so in order to differentiate, the field and the business have realized that what is there or what was there, they need to implement it. And that is really what, and I agree with you, Alberto, what we did in the past years really brought that into Sodexo. Now the scalability and the operationalization of that open innovation is in their hands, and they really know it, and so their job is now to put it in place with our support.
Yeah, because also to sharing the learning that we have been doing working with you guys in the past years. Sodexo is a complicated company because you have the business dimension, but you also your geographic, the market dimension. And again, sometimes, and this is quite a typical situation of company that have not just a strong business organization, but they have also very, very diversified, widespread geographies and markets, and you guys have been involved. So, and so this two level of operation is always something that is difficult to manage and to balance. And so that the next immediate question is how you've been able to cope the business dimension with the geography dimension, and how you're trying to pull them together, because again, markets require some certain level of autonomy. Markets require a certain level of customization, and most of the time, markets sometimes push for local solutions that are easy to be implemented. I think about Brazil, I think about China. There are big markets for you guys, but very, very far and probably difficult to be addressed in a centralized way. How you manage and you keep balance between the business dimension and the geographic dimension?
I think our organization is built in such a way that the business is there to define what is the strategic or what is the strategic levers or the strategic journey that each of the segments, when we call it business, is going to put. So we have been working with these segments to accompany them in the definition of their business transformation by bringing this innovation to them. So very clear to frame what do we want to do. On the other hand, the operations happen potentially at regional level. So we have been creating the necessary levers to ensure that we accompany that journey at a regional level. We all know that working with startups sometimes cannot be global, and therefore we need to ensure that we bring that innovation at a local level. And the most important thing was to bring those levers that were flexible enough and that were local to ensure that we were touching the whole ecosystem. And we did bring 5 key levers. The first one is our InnovHub platform, which is an ideation platform that was there to ensure that we capture from the local all the innovation that we could leverage to use in a global way. This platform has been working and is still there, and we are enriching it as we move forward. The second one was our corporate program. Our corporate program is a program where what we do, as I said, with our such an entrepreneurial spirit, we wanted to create a lever to allow us to build startups inside of Sodexo with internal people to ensure that because innovation is inside, we supported them to get that innovation forward. Our Sodexo accelerator programs, this is an example of building very local programs once the strategy is defined. We build this program to ensure that we accompany at a regional level our teams. Once we have defined a business transformation or a business issue, how we support them in capturing that innovation locally and bringing that into implementation or into tests before scalability. Sodexo partnerships, an international team supporting to build the partnerships and accompany the scale up of these partnerships at regional level and global, if they are global. And Sodexo Ventures, our CVC fund, that is there to support once we have success stories with some of those startups to bring them to the next level and grow with them and grow with them forward in their adventure with Sodexo.
So this is the current organization of Sodexo. That actually is not something that also there's been some changes since the beginning, because again, is naturally that there is an evolution process in place. The question is, how do you plan? Are you guys planning some changes in the innovation organization? Also, not just for facing what COVID has done, but also for being able to, again, also to capitalize from some of the learnings from the experience you put together in the past few years.
So there are 2 areas where we're making quite a lot of progress. The first one is on our innovation internal platform, InnovHub. we are putting a lot of efforts because one of the things that we are seeing in the phase now is that scalability, as I told you before, and implementation is something that is maybe taking a little bit more time than what we could imagine or want. And therefore, there is for us a real need to continue to support that. So our innovation platform that was built to be an ideation platform, we are completing it with a knowledge management platform where all our employees are capable of seeing inside what is the projects, the initiatives, or even the initiatives that are at scale that are being put in place. Because we are a decentralized organization, if someone has this need suddenly, they should be able to find it and quickly connect and bring forward the initiatives that are already in place. The second area, Alberto, that we are looking at is at Sodexo Ventures, our CVC fund. We built this fund some years ago with a specific focus, and we realized today that we potentially need to change it or reframe it to be more aligned with our business transformation purposes and objectives, and also with what's happening in the market. So with the investment committee, we're working on this and making sure that this vehicle that we have makes sense and accompanies with the strength that is needed our innovation journey. The other point that I think is very important is in relation with our people. And I just mentioned that scalability is a key subject for us. We are putting a lot of efforts on our people. First of all, with trainings. Our digital passport that was launched some years ago, we're pushing it and ensuring that we're bringing it forward to the right people across the company. And we are reinforcing and launching our Data Academy program, which is going to support us as our data acceleration plan that we have in mind. The last thing as well is in relation with our digital community. I think we speak about this and we spoke about this many times. Our digital community has been a key lever in our efforts along these years. There are people that are across the world in different areas of the business that are really supporting this journey. We continue to invest and animate on this community as we know that they are crucial to support our scalability and implementation subjects.
Yeah. The role of people is front and center everywhere, and again, entrepreneurship starts with people most of the time. And again, looking on what you have seen in your team, by the way, is it looks like that entrepreneurial spirit in a certain way has been very, very well widespread inside Sodexo. And I think just thinking about the move that Jean-Sebastian just did, I think is a good example how sometimes if you work hard on entrepreneurship, sometimes you might also be hit. And I think is a very, very positive thing. Can you probably elaborate a bit more about that?
Yes, sure. Yes, Alberto, that Sodexo is a company with a lot of values of entrepreneurship, and this is part of our DNA. There are many people that after Sodexo moved to entrepreneurial journeys. So did Jean-Sebastian. I'm extremely proud of this move. I think Sodexo really woke up Jean-Sebastian entrepreneurial spirit. He indeed left to create his own startup called La Collection.io, which is doing very well, I think, and I'm sure it will do.
It is pretty cool, I have to say. Just for other audience, Jean-Sebastian was the former head of Sodexo Ventures. And again, I have the pleasure and the opportunity to work with him in his prior role, and they're a very, very brilliant person. So I know that when I think he communicated to you his intention to start his own thing, I think it's something that might be at the first stage probably considered as a sort of a shock, because when you lose someone that good, is obviously it hurts, but at the same time is also a good testimony that when you work with entrepreneurship, the most immediate things that you can expect is that entrepreneurship becomes rooted in the organization. and probably also might eat some of your best people. And again, all the best to Jean-Sébastien, because I think it was a brilliant innovation executive. I'm pretty sure will be also a brilliant entrepreneur. And but I think this is how life works. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find even better person that will accompany you over your innovation journey.
Yes, so we are recruiting. So I make a call that we are recruiting. So if brilliant and exceptional innovation people are listening to this, please don't hesitate to send me your CV, or if you know someone.
I will probably suggest a couple of names. Yes, but I think it's definitely a great place to work, and Sodexo is so good at innovation that I forgot to mention at the beginning of our conversation that you just got recognized again also this year among the corporate startup stars. And so congratulations again. I think it is the recognition of the good work that under your leadership has been done inside Sodexo, and so company is able to innovate and move forward.
Thank you, Alberto. It means a lot to us.
Just to complete our conversation, looking back at the 5 years plus of innovation journey at Sodexo, what has been the learnings? What has worked in the past few years? What hasn't? If you should start from scratch, what you have changed, or if you have done exactly the same things in the same order?
So I think I have to say that I'm very proud, and I think that open innovation has had enormous value in driving forward our food transformation, or the food transformation of our business. I have to bring you 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when Sodexo was delivering a service of food, which was a catering service inside a restaurant. This has totally shifted. The market has totally shifted. There is a need to create an offer that is extremely differentiated to what we were doing 5 years ago. I have to say that we are now where we are thanks to the support and the open innovation that we have brought to Sodexo. It all started with potentially the acquisition of Food Cherry and the investment in another company in China called Meican, that we invested in to make sure that as Sodexo we understood and we learned what it meant to have this other activity that was part actually of what our consumers wanted. We managed to learn, define, and scale, let's say, a plan or a transformation that we potentially had in our heads, but we were not sure that it would work. So now we are really in a journey that has 5 years later is a different story. We have created more than 20 partnerships with startups or tech companies that allow us to drive this forward, and I can mention several tech companies that are bringing us the expertise, like for example KiwiBot, that responded to a need for us to increase the share of wallets that we grasp from our students in universities in US. We needed to find a solution to bring the food to their rooms in the campus. KiwiBot, we made a partnership. It's now being implemented in 50 universities this year. We're having huge impact, and it was really the right solution to bring to this specific problem. We have agreements with companies, white labels, like, for example, Dynamify in the US and UK, that is bringing us the necessary technology to be able to deploy the user journey that we want to bring to our consumers at work in terms of payments and solutions to create a user experience with a click and collect, a click and deliver, etc., etc. Or I can mention Hungerbox in India, which is a company that is also bringing us this tech, but allowing us, for example, to bring aggregation to our sites. Aggregation meaning the food from third parties inside of our restaurant at the same time as you can have the food that is being produced by Sodexo. The second area where I think we've made huge progress is on our Meal Pass. Our Meal Pass activity in the past years has created more than 300 partnerships with food tech companies, global, such as Uber Eats, such as Deliveroo, such as Just Eat, or even local with companies like Global in Europe or Rappi in Brazil. Everything to ensure that we are opening up and ensuring that our meal pass holders can get the food delivered from different parties' home or in any place that they are. The last thing that has added for me a lot of acceleration in our food transformation is the investments that we have done in startups to grow our food delivery and our food aggregation programs in our on-site activity. So we've invested in 8 companies to date that have been done most of them during COVID. Companies in the US such as Nourish or Foodie, which is an aggregator. In the UK, Fooditude or the Good Eating Company. In France, of course, Food Cherry. In China, Meican, etc., etc. These companies are really leading tech companies that are bringing to us not only what we need in terms of food, our classic, but also in terms of experience and tech to complement what we want to be and to complement our activity. So really, and we were talking before, Alberto, the levers that we put 5 years ago, the close work that we did with the business to define how to bring the best of open innovation and technology to our business transformation. In this specific case, it's really allowing us to make it a reality, make it concrete, and scale it. So in terms of food and food offer, we bring today something absolutely different to what is done elsewhere. And I guess this is thanks to our open ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely it is. And I think just to summarize your final word about the learnings, I think the biggest learning is that the open innovation is a journey that takes time. Unfortunately, it's not something that you can just get it done overnight. It's a journey that requires to pass through barriers, to learn from the experience that you have done, some good, some less good, some good that could have been done better. Again, I remember we have discussed plenty of time about one I think is one of the most important pillar of your journey has been the acquisition of Food Cherry. So it was a prior investment turned into an acquisition. Then you also experimented firsthand the problems of handing over to the business unit. At a certain point, is the baby ready to go into the business, or probably requires to be nurtured in a safer environment, is a bit more grown up. Again, all this experience that you guys have done, I think is shaping the way Sodexo innovation is working today. And probably what you're doing today would be also shaping what you guys will be doing in the next few years. So I think it's a journey. And the journey, you need to take the journey. You need to obviously to try to go faster as possible, but knowing that sometimes it's simply impossible to fast track things that require some learning. And I think has been a good learning process, and the results, the outcomes are visible. And that's why also I think you being confirmed among the corporate startup stars is another example of the fact that something good has been done. So congratulations, Belen. It's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to share insight with you, and all the best. And then definitely stay in touch for learning from your progress, mistakes, and new experiments that you will be for sure doing in the next few months.
Indeed, Alberto. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to share.
Bye.